Hey guys, it's Jolee. I'm just going to give a little bit of time for people to start popping on and also for me to calm my nerves a little bit. Hope y'all having a great Thursday. It's 12 o'clock where I am in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. I need to have the Jeopardy music to play. And if you're here, if you could just comment below, just so I know I'm not here by myself. I see some people have popped on. Aaron Hopkins has popped on, my coach. Thank you for the support. Parker. Hey, Aaron. I'm just going to give it a few more seconds before I start jumping in. Hey, Parker. Hey, Terry. All right, so I see I've got about 12 people on, and I know people will be hopping on and hopping off, and it's Thursday before Memorial Day weekend, and people have a lot going on, and I know this will be recorded for later. Thank you, Terry. I needed that. Okay, so first of all, a little bit about me, and if you keep commenting, I have like total ADD, and so I'll start reading comments, and it'll be like squirrel. All of a sudden, I have totally lost track of where I need to be. So a little bit about me. I am Jolee McLeod. I just got braces recently, so I sound like a 13-year-old when I'm talking. I'm still trying to get used to that. But I am a 3-star qualifying coach, and I've been actively coaching for, I guess, almost 8.5, 9 months now. I came into Beachbody last August. I am a yoga teacher and a personal trainer. Actually, I sort of hate it when people say they start with who they are by defining what they do. But that's what I did, and I continue to personal train, and I continue to teach yoga. But I'm doing less of that now because of Beachbody, but more on that later. So I'm in the healthcare industry. I have been for the past 7 to 8 years. And I found myself tired, depressed, 10 pounds overweight, or heavier than I had actually ever been. So overweight is probably a gross overstatement, but just didn't feel good because I had an extra 10 pounds on me that I wasn't used to carrying. My birthday was around the corner. I was getting ready to turn 42, and I do not birthday well, y'all. And I also have trouble with the seasons of my life. I have children that are 10 and 9 that are really close in age together, and they're getting ready to go to the next grade level. And I have a really hard time processing that because it's just hard for me. I'm getting older, summertime's ending, they're going to school, they're getting older, and I feel like, especially with where I was at that point in my life, tired, depressed, working way too much, not getting paid in my opinion, for what I was worth for my time. I just was not happy with where I was at that point in my life. And I would probably say going on about 5 years, I had been telling myself that something needed to change, but I wasn't doing anything to change it. I was just saying it needed to, and then just sitting with that. And here I was 5 years later, where I was. And so to say that I was embarrassed of how I felt and what I was feeling back in August is an understatement. I mean, I was in the healthcare industry. I'm teaching people how to be healthy, how to put themselves first, and I was not doing it at all. I was teaching, and I think it's a typo in my introduction if you saw that. I wasn't teaching 16 yoga classes a day. That would be insane, but I was doing the next level of insanity. Not Shanti, but I am doing that right now. I was teaching 16 yoga classes a week in 4 yoga studios, because one of them was in 2 different places, and they were all over the place. So I was spending a lot of time in my car, not eating mindfully or not eating at all, and teaching people to be mindful. And on top of that, I was driving to another location really early in the morning to do corporate wellness twice a week. And so to say that my resources were depleted is also an understatement. And then in the summer times, I would drag my poor children if I couldn't find a babysitter or just flat out couldn't afford a babysitter, because as a yoga teacher and a personal trainer, you really don't make a lot of money. And oftentimes it was barely breaking even if I had a sitter at the house. So I would drag them with me at really awful times of the day, teach people to be mindful in one room while my children were sitting in a meditation hall. The irony of this. While meditation was not going on, and they were glued to iPads. And I will definitely say, and this is where it starts to choke up with me, is that I was afraid of the memories that they were creating for themselves at these tender ages. And I call them the unicorn years with your children, when they want to be with you and you want to be with them. They still think you're cool, and you're really laying, in my opinion, a really big impression on their lives at that point. And I was not happy of the impression I was leaving them, and I'm also pretty hard on myself in that manner. So I have a really good friend who is my coach, who is posting her transformation on Facebook, and I went to her and said, we actually go back and forth about this. I think Erin said she reached out to me. I think I reached out to her first. It doesn't matter. It was serendipitous. She was posting. I was in a low point. I had been asked to coach several times with another friend, but I'd never been asked to be a part of a challenge. And I wasn't at a point in my life where I thought I needed it, because I thought I knew everything. I was an asshole. And so I joined Erin's challenge group, and she let me do it completely on the down low. I said I was embarrassed, and I needed anonymity with this. I really needed something to come in a box, and I needed the box to fix me, and I needed somebody to give me the tools to remember to take care of myself. So I signed up for it like I was signing up for like a 5K or a 10K, and I knew that it was going to be coming up, and so I participated in the challenge. And within the first week, I wanted to be in that group participating. I was seeing such a change, not only physically with me, but emotionally, and I felt so supported, and I felt I was nourishing my body with the Shakeology. I was nourishing my body with food. I felt like I was getting time back to myself, because I was working out in 30 minutes and having more energy from working out again, and then having time with my family in the evenings, because I had given myself that time on the weekends to prep my meals. And so I was, able to slide in from soccer practice or drama or whatever, and not be scrambling or hitting a drive-through with my children. So it really had a ripple effect through my family. A tiny bit of a backstory to my story. My husband, Brown McLeod, has coronary heart disease, and he suffered from a heart attack 3 years ago while he was surfing, and he's in really good shape, and he was released from cardiac rehab, and the only way that we could figure out to make it work for him to be able to do daily exercise, at that point it was a non-negotiable. I mean, we all know we need to exercise daily, but literally it was prescribed by the doctor, like, you will have another heart attack if you don't. And you have to do it daily. So he started doing Beachbody workouts way before I started doing this. So about 2.5 years ago. And he actually kited them. I know that's a terrible thing to know that about me now, that my husband took disc and copied them and played them in his man cave, and I would sometimes do them, sometimes not, but the fact that he was working out, that's all that mattered, and I had my own thing that I could do. And so back to my story, I did Erin's challenge. Within a week I noticed a transformation. It was mainly the fog of depression was lifting because I was taking care of myself. And the day that my husband looked at me and said, and I get choked up every time I say this, he said, I feel like I have my life back. And that was a big day. That was a big turning point for me, and it made me realize this is way much more than pressing a video, and way much more than drinking a shake, and way much more than nutrition. It was just mind-body connection that I had been lacking for so long, and I had been teaching and not giving it back to myself. So, I had this transformation. I lost 7 of the 10 pounds that I was trying to lose at the beginning, and it was my birthday weekend. And again, I don't birthday well. And I decided to kind of come out of the Beachbody closet. And I posted a picture of my bikini picture before and my bikini picture after. And I vomited practically. I mean, I had a panic attack. And I got pretty real with that post, saying that what I just said, a snippet of my story. And it was insane, the people that reached out to me. And I know it was a product of the fact that I was in the healthcare industry and I had never endorsed anything. And I didn't even say it was Beachbody. I just said I was looking for people to join me. And so I stepped into, as a coach, not really coaching, but like cheering on the people that said they wanted to, try this. And my upline coach, Aaron, that coached the group, and I just cheered them on. And so I decided that I wanted to go all in after that, because it really sets your soul on fire even more when you have your own transformation and you get to share it with others. And so September and October were pretty easy. I was able to ride the wave of being in the healthcare industry for 7 years, and would occasionally post something about a challenge group, and people would come to me. And so that's September and October. And so come November, in the middle of the month, I was sitting at SC2. And I was leaving one of the millions of places that I leave after I'd been there for several hours and had been there at a god-awful hour in the morning and was not able to see my children before they went off to school, and not able to see my husband before they went off to school or before he went off to work. And I'm sitting at SC2, and I had not once invited anybody, and occasionally posted on Facebook. And I called my upline coach, and I was like, this is where it is. This might be the end of the road. I'm just at SC2. And I'll never forget what Erin said to me. She said, if that's what it is, that's what it is. And remember, this is supposed to be fun. And she let me be me. And so I thought about it. I had a 30 to 45 minute drive on the way home because I was stuck in traffic from being where I was away from my house. And that also played into this for me. And I got home and I was like, F this. I just can't, this can't be it. So I keep on going back to those memories that I'm creating with my children, and the fact that I'm running all over the place, and I just can't get back to that vicious cycle, because I've had a taste of what, like I'm on the edge of something here, and I won't get out of my own damn way to take that leap. Like you need to go on all in. And it literally, guys, was like a light switch. So I was the one that would complain to my upline coach, why does Beachbody do it this way? And why is this happening this way? And why? And I literally switched it to, it's what it is. We have been given this gift of an opportunity. We're teaching people how to live healthier lives. We're not selling a product. Stop asking why they do things and figure out why you're doing this and why you need to do this. So it literally was like the light switch went on in my brain. And so I came home, and to say that I invited like a boss is like, I invited like a boss. It was like 9:30. I barely came up to eat, and my children got out of school at 2:30, and I head down, phone off. I had never done it before. I had no scripts. I had no idea what the freak I was doing. All I knew was that I needed to do this. And I was told that this works and you do this. And so I sat down and invited, went and got my kids, and I couldn't keep up again. And it lit me up again. I've been meaning to reach out to you. I've been meaning to do this stuff. And it's, So this is in November, and my SC numbers, I don't even remember what they went to, but I definitely was like somewhere in the 30s. So that happened. And then, after that, I'm really starting to tap into the essence of why I'm doing this. And y'all, I know you're probably like, teach me how to invite, teach me how to do social media, teach me how to do that. All that stuff really matters, but it only matters if you know why you're doing this. Otherwise, it's just going to be another freaking job that you got to do, and there don't be no fire and no passion behind it. So that's why I'm really focusing on this today, guys, because I feel like people put the cart before the horse too much. So my upline team did this thing called Living Your Best Year Ever, and they did a private Facebook group, no charge. They went in there, popped in there. Once, Moira Casava, Meredith Ganal, Jacqueline Hughes, they did this, and they went in once a day and took us through the steps of this journaling process. It's called Living Your Best Year Ever by Darren Hardy, and he's speaking at Summit this year, and he's the author of The Compound Effect. And so I was all in at that point. So the success leaves clues, guys. And so these were successful women. These were women that were so relatable to me. And they were going to give me something during a really freaking busy time of the year, y'all. It's December, Christmas, everything. And did I have time to do it? No. Did I want to not have to this summer take my kids up to the north area and drag them all around town? No, I did not want to do that. So you just do it. You do it. You stop making excuses and you make a decision of what you need to do to move forward. And so every day they took us through, and it's basically was an accountability group to go through this process of looking at your life and creating a framework for you to springboard off of in January. And so I was all in with it. And so the Living Your Best Year Ever, just in a nutshell, it asks you to sort of look at, in a very almost business-like, methodical way, of deep patterning that you have in your life. So like relationships, spiritual, family relationships, finances. I mean, like, think of your life as a wheel. It's looking at all these different wheels, and it's really asking some hard questions, almost like Cosmo-like, like rated 1 through blah, blah, blah. And it takes it in a system for you to figure out where your wheel is, and then you start to figure out, see if I can find it while I'm talking. You start to figure out where your wheel is imploding. And guys, my wheel, no wonder my marriage was suffering. No wonder my children were suffering. No wonder I was saying that I want to stop yelling at my children every day and stop being frustrated, because that, do you see it? The inner one was my wheel. It was so sad. And to look at that, and for it to give me, because I'm a pretty listy kind of person, and it gave me a game plan to fix it, because it was in dire need of fixing. And so from there, I created a wheel of what my life, to grow it outwards. And so every Sunday night, so let's back up for a moment. So in it, I have weekly goals, I have monthly goals, and I have yearly goals. And the yearly goals, this book helps you get there. But the best advice I can give you right now, your yearly goals are based upon where you want your life to be in a year. And they are meant to be ones that push you, make you fail forward, and are maybe just out of your grasp, but could be attainable if you just put your nose down and do the work, and stop asking why you have to do the work, but just do it. And so one of them, y'all, which is not even a yearly goal, it was a halfway point for me, was to be able to retire from my personal training gig this summer. Because remember, I said I needed this for my children. I needed to be present for my children for the unicorn years. That was a huge why for me, huge why. And damn it, y'all, I did it. I stopped working last week, and I get to choose. I get to stay off for the summer, and I get to choose if I want to go back in the fall when my children are back. That's a choice I get to make. There's no fear of me wondering if my clients will be there. I like to be around them, but I don't need the income. So I was able to make that choice. Another goal that I have is 5-star by Summit. And I just realized, as I'm doing this week by week, I will not be 5-star by Summit. I will be 5-star by the end of the year. And I'm glad that I put it, that's an example of a goal that was just maybe out of my reach, but it definitely pushed me to do the things I needed to get there. And the reason why I wanted to be 5-star by Summit is because my financial part of my wheel was imploding. I have other financial goals. I have travel goals that I've been, when somebody dangles a prize of a trip, I do it and I make those goals. So each week I create my own, I think it's called a BAT, isn't it? The thing that you use to do your weekly rhythm for, making sure that you're touching certain many people on Facebook, whatever that thing is called. I honestly don't use it, but I have like a BAT for my life. And so every Sunday night, I write what my banner goals are for the year. And I have a new one now for that one where I was trying. Thank you. It is a BAT. Thank you. So I write my goals that are for my life for the year. I write my goals for my life for the month. And I write my goals for my life for the week. Now, a lot of them are Beachbody goals. The Beachbody goals are totally tied into my life. And a lot of them are things like go on a date with your husband. And then, so I then go and create a register, a rhythm for it. And so just an example of this past week is listen to Audible. So listen to some sort of personal development on Audible, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Create a spending log. I needed to be able to rein my finances in. Power hour. Read 10 pages before you go to bed. Read your vision, and I'll talk about that. Don't yell at your kids. Work out. Meditate. Don't drink alcohol a certain number of times of the week. Check in with your personally sponsored coaches. So it's all personal to you, and it's all based upon what your why is. So that I was able to develop that rhythm during a really busy time of the year. And guys, and I'll talk of another example of that in a moment, if you can do things when the hits the fan, and you can keep sourced and keep working towards your goals, you can do it whenever. And I think it's when we're busiest is when we really put our nose down or are most efficient, in my opinion, to do things. So from the Wheel of Life, and this was taught to me from my upline, I created a vision statement for my life. And the vision statement is super personal. And it describes how I want my life to look in like a few years. What it feels like. How it helps my marriage. How it helps my children. How it helps my children's future. How it makes them feel. What it does. It is a deeply personal thing that's a couple pages that I took the time to write. And every morning I get up and read it, and every night I read it. And when I have like an Oreo sandwich or a cookie of my day, where each end of it is the vision, the stuff in the middle doesn't seem like stuff you got to do. It's more like the means to be able to do it, and it gives you more joy to do the things we don't want to do, whatever that is in your life, with your Beachbody business. And so, once I have, did this journaling with the best year ever, I figured out my wheel of my life, my vision statement, and I created my activity tracker for my life, which includes obviously stuff I'm working on with my Beachbody business to keep my vital behaviors going. I literally hired myself, y'all. And I wake up every morning, and this might sound cheesy as hell to you, but I literally think, okay, Jolee McLeod Wellness is open for business. And how are you going to show up for yourself, Jolee? And so, so every day I've hired myself, and then I manifest it. I think, wouldn't that be awesome to be on the National Wake Up Call, and then I get a call from Sandy to be on the National Wake Up Call? Wouldn't it be great to be able to have some diamond coaches? What do I need to do it? And then I have diamond coaches. I manifest. I manifest when I am meditating. I manifest as much as I can. I think visualization, positive talk as much as I can to myself, and it works. It really works. And so when you hire yourself and when you start manifesting the life that you want to have, it makes the things that you don't want to do, because let's face it, inviting can be very hard. Being vulnerable on Facebook can be really hard. Doing free challenge groups and things mess up on the back office that make it so things don't go where they're supposed to go can be a pain in the butt. You know, looking at your downline, making sure that people aren't going to go inactive, or your PSs, or all that stuff. Ugh, it's just stuff, but it's just part of this business. So you can get yourself trapped into the why we have to do this, and then remember that you've hired yourself, and you remember that you are here to do a job, and the job is to get you to your why, and you keep on coming back to that. And that's why I read that vision every morning and every night. So it makes the posting on social media less, for me, I have found that it's not as hard. I am inviting people into my world. I post incredibly organically, and I kind of vet it by saying, like, I look at the post and think, does this sound appealing? Does this look attractive? Does this look like Jolee's personality? I'm pretty quirky. I drop the F-bomb a lot. I like to talk about woo-woo stuff like manifesting and visualization, but that has not changed since I started doing Beachbody. So I am just like using the social media platform to get people to further understand what I'm about, because they come to you because of your personality. And so hire yourself, and then don't fight it, y'all. Don't fight the system of how this works. I just was on the phone with Erin Hopkins, my upline coach, and she had admitted that she was not quite as consistent with social media, and so she had gotten more consistent in the past couple of weeks, and she was like, damn it works. And I'm like, I know, sometimes you're like, why do we do this to ourselves? So Beachbody creates programs that work. They create nutrition that works. They create an incredible Shakeology product that works, and they create a system that works for us. You organically post 3 times a day, and you invite people. You organically post 3 times a day, and you invite people, and it works. It works. Don't fight it. Remember, you have hired yourself. You're manifesting this stuff, and if you're not doing those things, then you need to fire yourself. In my opinion. So yeah. And then back to this, living your best year ever. I think it's given me so much, in the sense of keeping me on track, keeping me on course for my vision, for my wheel of my life. And I love the fact that it asks me on Sunday nights to evaluate my week and see where my misses were, see what I learned, my aha moments. It also makes me realize maybe I've overextended myself in one area and I need to pull it back so this wheel, it starts to bump in a better, more balanced way. It asks me to do that every Sunday night, and then it asks me to do that once a month so I can go back and look and, again, just be in this constant state of inquiry and self-study, which is, in my opinion, one of the best things you can do for yourself. And then it asked me to do it once a quarter. And so I just had the quarterly one sort of recently, and I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot. I said I want to connect with that person. And so it makes you evaluate that way. And then I cannot wait. I mean, like it literally is my Bible. I cannot wait until the end, and then keep on year after year after year, keep using this as to source me and resource me. The last thing I wanted to say is that I cannot stress, y'all, the importance of personal development. Stop making excuses if you're not doing it. Set goals for yourself to do it, just like you maybe set goals for weight loss or nutrition or whatever, or monetary goals. Set goals for personal development. There's no excuse for you to not do it. Either listen to it in the car, listen to it when you're food prepping. I do that a lot. Listen to it in the grocery store, through Audible. You can, listen to it if you don't have time to read. I read something there recently that a person that doesn't read is just as uninformed as a person that doesn't know how to read. So you know how to read. And goal 10 pages a day. Personally, for me, I like to have Audible and personal development paper book going at the same time. And I like one to be something that's more, esoteric and about the spiritual side of my life. And the one I'm doing right now is Miracle Morning, helping create a morning process for me. And then I like to have one going that's maybe more business related. And so let me give you some helpful books that were really, I will say, life-changing. I know that's a cliche that's thrown out there a lot, but some books that I really stand behind as far as changing my mindset is The Universe Has Your Back. I read and listened to that book by Gabrielle Bernstein. You Are a Badass, incredible book. My husband's reading that right now. Go for No. That was a good one to remind yourself that no's turn into yeses, and the more no's you get, the more opportunity you get for a yes. Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. He's like my man. He speaks to me every time he talks. The Law of Attraction, incredible book, y'all. It really helps to help understand manifesting. That's the Law of Attraction. And the one I'm reading right now is Miracle Morning. And the last thing I want to say in closing is back to my husband, and I'm going to try to say this without getting choked up. He had a heart attack 3 years ago. And this past Sunday, he had chest pains. And he held it from me for quite some time that he was having the chest pains, which is totally his MO. He doesn't like to put people out. And he finally let me know in the afternoon, and he drove himself to the hospital. Huge no-no, by the way. And, he was admitted into the hospital. He's fine. And 3 years ago, when the heart attack happened, I fell apart. It was really hard on me, and it still is hard on me and still affects me to this day. And I had decided to create this morning process for myself because I knew that it was something that was lacking with me, a consistent meditation practice and consistent quiet time for myself before I was slapped awake by Shanti. So I had decided to do this before this chest pain situation had happened. And so Sunday, I had a choice when I got home at midnight from the hospital and had to be there for my kids, and then get up the next morning to get them for school, ready for school, and then, be there for them in the morning. I had a choice to wake up until like the last second I could get out of bed, which would have been my MO before all this. And then snooze, and then been harried with my children and probably yelled at them to get them ready for school, and then would have probably been late getting to the hospital. But instead I chose to set my alarm for 5 a.m. And I chose, before I put my head on the pillow, to say to myself, manifest to myself, you have this, Jolee. You're stronger than you think you are. And you are going to get a restful night's sleep. So manifest that. And you're going to wake up and you're going to feel so much better if you do this. So I went to bed not thinking, oh my God, it's 12 a.m. and my husband's in the hospital and we don't know what's happening. I went to bed with that visualization. It works, whatever it is you're trying to visualize. And I woke up the next morning, don't know how I slept through the night, but I did. Woke up the next morning at 5 a.m. and I showed up for myself. And I did my visualization, read it. I did my meditation. I read 10 minutes of personal development. And then that sweet man, Sean T, kicked my ass. And I did that all before my children came barreling down the stairs at 6:15. Yes, there were tears shed before that. Yes, there were all this stuff. I was in a state of process. But I'm telling you, in the 8 months that I have been doing this business and the 9 months that I have been doing it since a challenger, because I'm still participating as a challenger, all in with my challengers, that has built me to where I am today, to be a strong woman, to be able to say yes to doing the National Wake Up Call without freaking out, to say yes to this call, not even understanding what it is, to say yes to my family and to show up completely present. And so I want to close by saying you've got to really come and find your heart. You find your heart in this whole situation, and no pun intended with my husband finding his heart. But you really got to find your heart, because I know a lot of us are women that do this business, and you've got to take care of yourself. And nowhere else I've ever worked in this planet has ever told me and actually demanded and expected for me to always take care of myself first. So that's what I want to say in conclusion. I really enjoyed being here. It's very therapeutic for me to go through this process and explain how I do things, and I appreciate all the thumbs up, the hearts, and everything. Drop any questions below. I'll be on later today to check it out. Have a great day.